So in here we've got what I think, at least from the looks of the online images, is likely one of the best looking collab watches I've seen to date, especially for more affordable collab watches. Now this is from French watchmakers Yema, although I'm not exactly sure if this particular model is made in France. But either way, Yema's watches tend to cost a bit above the ceiling of what I normally cover on this channel, but this new model is certainly an exception to that. I'll whip it open, show you all the details and everything, and then I'll reveal the price as well, because considering how pretty this thing potentially is, you may be pleasantly surprised. So thanks to Yema for sending this in at my request. I spotted it on their site a few weeks back, and they were willing to send me one in. And this is some pretty nice motorsports inspired packaging, I've got to say. Yeah, really nice leather here for sure. Definitely not faux leather. And as you can gather, the watch inside is indeed motorsport themed. I've got to say, that's potentially one of the nicest packed watches I've seen at this price. Now, you'll find a link to this watch in the video description if you do want to check it out for yourself. And here she is, and man, this is a corker. This is the new Rallygraph Alpine Cup Series watch. And straight out of the box, you can see why I wanted to take a look at this, because I think this thing is beautiful. Now, it's been many a year, actually, since I last covered a Yema watch. As I said, most of their stuff tends to be a bit too expensive for me. The last one I looked at was their LED watch, I think, like maybe 3-4 years ago. But the second I saw this, I was in love. Now, this chronograph comes in, well, technically 3 different colours, although one of those is a much more expensive mechanical option. Whereas this, as you can guess given it's on my channel, is a mecha quartz chronograph. There we go. Wow, it has a really deep set pusher actually there. So you can see there you still get like a semi-sweep to that chronograph hand. And this particular variant comes in 2 colours, so you can also grab this in a reverse panda as well. So majority black dial instead. But yeah, I have to say I am completely smitten with this one. Looks just as good in person as it does online. And some of that extends to the finishing too. Now, the majority of the sides in the main case here are just brushed, but it's some really fine brushing as you can see. And then we got some extreme high polish on the bezel, and then a really thin chamfer running the edges there. You also have a nice dome to the crystal, not a shape you often see actually. This is almost like a halfway house between a standard domed crystal and a boxed crystal, so certainly doesn't have the angularity right at the edges. It's a bit more of a smooth transition, and it flows nicely into the bezel, doesn't it? But yeah, I'll give you a close-up of this while I whiz you through the specs, and then we'll get to the price too. So under the hood here, yeah, we've got the venerable Seiko VK64, which is the most common choice you'll find on these budget chronographs. Mechanical chronographs tend to start at a lot more money than this one. It's then got a 316L stainless steel case. The crystal used here, as you might have guessed given how clear it is not sapphire, nor is it acrylic. It's actually K1 hardened mineral crystal, which I looked at in depth on my big crystal scratch test video, and it does indeed perform better than the standard mineral stuff, all while not being nearly as hazy as sapphire, as you can see. With this particular one, you do get a good deal of warping at the edges too, if that's what you're looking for. Apparently this one's got some BGW9 luminescence, which we'll also take a look at momentarily. Water resistance here, by the way, is 100 meters. We do indeed have a screw back there, and a reasonably flat one as well. Not the thinnest watch in the world, but yeah, that's a decent amount of water resistance for a watch like this. Suits the sportiness as well. The crown, meanwhile, is just your standard push-pull crown, which is often the case with these mecha quartz chronographs. The bracelet, though, I mean, the bracelet here is really, really nice. Complete custom job, as you can see. Almost looks like some sort of part you might find in an engine, or like a chain almost or something. I think this is really unique and intriguing. Great job with this. May make it more breathable too, so it might not just be for aesthetics. Does seem to be solid links throughout. Well, aside from the holes in the center, of course. That includes the end links too. Gives it a nice weighty feeling. Doesn't seem to rattle all that much. Clasp here is also decent too. No concealed micro adjustment, which is a shame, but this clasp, at least on first impressions, yeah, really nice feel actually. Super crispy clasp action there. Certainly one of the best I've felt in the last few months. And you do get 4 micro adjustment holes. Oh wait, it does actually have something here in the back. Looks like a bit of a diver's extension or something, which means you could make an adjustment, I guess, albeit rather large adjustments at a time. But for those of you who do want to dunk this watch, I guess that could be useful. Maybe you'll have to let me know in the comments section below if this is more of a common feature on these racing chronographs than I understand it to be. But yeah, it feels really nice. As you can hear, everything clicks really nicely. Some good tolerances on this. And we'll get the sizes in a moment, but first, I just want to show you up close some of the detailing here. And you can see there the chapter ring is kind of indented with the markers then lying across it, almost like mini bridges. Seen that effect done a couple of times and it looks good here. And I also like the way that it kind of leads into the date window there as well. Almost looks like they're part of the same system. Really slick. Very, very symmetrical, this watch too. And you might almost forget that this was a collab piece in a way because it's pretty subtly done. Now you do have the Alpine logo there as the counterbalance on the chronograph hand. You've also got a very slim logo here at the bottom, but I don't think it impedes the aesthetics really one jot. And I don't think they've made many compromises whatsoever in the design department versus their much more expensive mechanical version. That one is cracking on towards $2,000, so way out of my wheelhouse. Whereas this one, which I'd say it looks like 98% as good, is far, far less than that. Now, depending on which strap option you choose, the prices on this one start from £352 instead, which I think is pretty fair for a watch that looks this darn good. Now, this particular version on the bracelet is actually at $442 at present, so it is quite the price bump, but to be honest, I mean, it is such a custom job on this one, I can kind of understand it. But definitely one of the reasons I was so excited to take a look at this watch. I think this is the first banger of 2026, at least for me. Now, let's see if it'll fit you, eh? Now, on the website here, the mechanical version of this watch is 41mm wide, whereas this one is marketed as just 39mm, so it is slightly smaller. And it does say here that this one is also assembled in France, which is quite surprising. Usually watches assembled in Western countries tend to cost quite a bit more than that. The width here, maybe a hair under what they say, 38.9 wide. Lug to lug on this one is also just a fraction under 47. And thickness, if you include that raised crystal, of 12.8 at the center. If you were to discount the crystal, it would be almost exactly 10mm. So it's not super chunky by any means, but it's also not extremely thin or anything, at least for a Mecha Quartz watch. Bracelet width, by the way, if you did want to change this, or if you did want to lob a different strap on it, is about 20mm, yeah. And here's a look at it on my 6¼ inch wrist, so I've got a pretty small wrist, and as far as fit goes, I could maybe just about get away with this. It's certainly on the borderline for me. My wrist tends to suit like 36, 37mm watches really, but I think for most male wrists, you're gonna have no problem with this whatsoever. And I have to say, I mean, I've seen many a Panda watch in my time, and this one, as far as looks go, is right up there. Certainly has some more unique elements, you know, it's not just a run-of-the-mill Hamilton Intramatic clone or anything like that. And I think this also looks better than some of the previous Yamaha watches they've released, because this isn't the first in the Rallygraph series by any means. They've got quite a few other models on their website, but I think it's just something about that tachymeter maybe on the inside, and maybe partly that nice bracelet too, that just sets this one apart. I think this one looks considerably more luxurious than those, and maybe a bit more versatile too. Doesn't just look like a you know, fun casual motorsports watch, this, especially in this white color. I reckon you could wear this for almost anything, and they tend to be the types of watches I often find myself reaching for the most. Now, there's no crazy dial techniques or anything like that on display with this watch, but there's always just something alluring about just a good old-fashioned, nicely designed watch. Yeah, really surprised to learn that that isn't fully assembled in China, even if some parts are probably made there. And thickness, by the way, not really a problem. It's certainly not the thinnest watch in the world, especially with that crystal, but it does hug the wrist rather nicely, as you can see. The lug's just about curved down enough, I think, and this bracelet has no problem conforming either. And there's a look at it from the side. I think that's really what makes it like a boundary watch for me. Now, I'll just do a quick crystal check just to make sure they haven't mislisted it. But to be honest, it's got that level of clarity which you don't normally get from more affordable sapphire crystal watches. And you can see what I mean here, actually. I'm using this Christopher Ward on the left as our control watch, because this is the one that I know has got a sapphire crystal on it. And you can see right there that it's, you know, considerably less hazy. It's just sadly one of the slight downsides you get with sapphire, even if it is much better versus scratches. But yeah, we're expecting a reasonably strong reading here from this watch, normally about 4 bars on my diamond selector. Yep, so that's definitely sapphire, and this will probably yield no results on this K1. Yeah, definitely is a mineral crystal there. Now, there's one thing we haven't looked at yet, and that is the luminescence. And who knows, maybe it'll have a surprise in store with us, as some of these collab watches tend to do. And with BGW9, you normally get the blue glow on these areas, although it looks like it might have a bit of two-tone luminescence going on here. It's been going for a little while now, and yeah, I think that is pretty decent lume, both on the hands and markers actually, so you should have no problems reading this watch in the dark either. So there's your first look at the new Yellygraph. So there's your first look at the new Yema Rallygraph Alpine Cup Series, which is one of the sexiest collab watches I've seen for sure. And I can't remember 100% whether I have to send this back or not. I hope not. But either way, I'm really excited to share this with you guys because it looks awesome, doesn't it? It's linked below if you do want to check it out for yourself. Unusual way the bezel just kind of hangs over the case a fraction there too. Maybe it's just to make the dial that tiny bit wider. But yeah, I am smitten.